Morning.
I'm enlisted today for
Alrighty, we got moose fed. Sat and drank coffee and BS for a while. Had Pen 7 pull apart their bunk fence again, which is just fine. I went and I shored it up a little bit so they couldn't bend the snot out of it, but it's made to kind of expand and contract with the weather and with them rubbing on it, and so you got sleeves they slide in and out of. And it got pretty cold last night, so they got scratching on it and they got it slid apart. No big deal. They didn't bend anything with the way I did it, so that's good. It's pretty easy to put it back together. All you gotta do is put a pipe wrench on it and it slides right back in. So, but it is cooler today. Yesterday it was in the mid 70s, the beginning of March. It's just crazy. Past 2 days have been real warm. I got sunburned yesterday, believe it or not, my pasty Irish skin. But worked cattle yesterday, insufferable group of cattle to work, but we got them worked, re-implanted them. Then I went and ran the jumper hot wire above the pins instead of running it across the corner so they can't break that off again. And today, I ain't got a whole lot to do. I'm hoping my parts come in for the feed truck. I got a intake heater relay that I need to put in, which is a pain, and I'll show you guys that when it comes in. I gotta do that. Got a wiper arm coming for it. I gotta stop at the farm supply store and I gotta pick up some staples. But right now, I'm gonna go grab a couple of tractor tires that we got bolted together, and I'm gonna go throw them in pen 1. And I'll explain why we're doing that here in a bit. right, all these pins will have what we call hills in them. They're kind of natural to go with the land. Not very many hills around here, but just enough of one. So what we'll do is we'll take these tires, we're gonna put them on top of that mound. Now the reason we do that is so they can scratch themselves on it. When cattle get dry, they don't get rain on them. Look at it kind of like if you don't take a shower for a week or 2 weeks or a month, you get itchy, or you're gonna get itchy. That's what happens to these guys. So they want to scratch themselves on whatever they can. So they got the fences over here, try to scratch themselves on that. And then of course we got the hot wires on there, so that doesn't always work for them. But then they'll scratch themselves on the bunk line fence, which is how they get pulled apart when it gets cold or hot or whatever. So you put these tires out here, and they can scratch themselves on those tires, and it saves your fences, saves the bunk line fence, and it provides relief for these nice little steers. Well, let's go get this did. Now we'll run down, I'd say about halfway. Half between the bunk line fence and the back fence over here. We're gonna go right on top of this little hill. Yeah, that looks good. Drop it down nice and easy. Just like that. Look at them flocking around there. See, they're already scratching themselves on it. Works out pretty good. Look at that. So there isn't a whole lot that goes into this. It works out pretty good. So there isn't a whole lot that goes into this, but it works out pretty good. And raise my forks up here. And I just got the forks. Want to raise them up high enough that I'm not going to hit any of them. They usually get out of the way, but sometimes they either want to act tough with this or they get curious and want to sniff around. You just don't want to hurt them. But now, I think I'm going to go put the bucket back on, and I'm going to go push the distiller's pile over. I don't think we're going to get distillers today or whatnot, but it'd be nice to have everything ready to go when we have everything pushed up so I don't have to push it when they drop it. Well, change of plans here. We got that other set of tires you guys saw. We're going to go pick those up. We're going to dump them in pen 3 up here. These ones generally aren't too bad, or haven't been, but while we got them, might as well use them. You can see our distillers right there will push back over towards the end. Take it back right up and dump the new stuff in front of it. Kinda gotta clean the back of that up too. Bud, you better get up. There you go, buddy. Come on. Alright, I think right here. There we go. They ought to enjoy that. You can see them all going up, getting curious. They're going to look around, then they'll start scratching themselves. They know what they're doing. Just a new toy. You know, the one problem of doing this stuff yourself is you can usually get into these things pretty good without the cattle trying to run out. When you pull out of these pens, they want to try to follow you out, so you got to jump out of this loader pretty quick to make sure that you're not chasing them through the yard. We've done it before, and we'll do it again. But boy, it sure ain't fun. Now they got the bucket, probably a little bit of clarification. We don't really chase them around because they follow us out of those gates. It's usually when they break through something, usually a bunk fence, pull it apart, and then get pushed through because they can't just get out. It's usually because they get scratching, then they see an opening and everything pushes them through. Then we chase them through. I've never actually had to chase them because they followed me out into the yard. Usually when I come after them, they turn around and run right back in. So, oh well. But now I'm going to get distillers. I'm going to push that pile over. I'll flip you around to explain it better. So, I'm going to take this pile and I'm going to push it back towards where that auger is. That auger, we got a pit in front of that tractor. We'll dump corn in there, wet corn, and that'll dump it into the grinder, and the grinder will spit it out and we'll push it up into the pile over here. We'll push that distillers back so the distillers driver can back up to it and dump a new pile out in front of that. And the driver we had there this last time dumped it halfway out there. I don't know why. But then I'm also going to go over here and there's distillers that got pushed over the back. Looks like garbage. So we'll clean that up, push it back over and feed it. It'll be fine. And that was from me trying to learn how not to push it over. And I've kind of got to figure it out now. Like I said, I really don't know much about this yet. So, still learning. Well, we got distillers pushed up. That turned out pretty good. It always takes a little bit of time. That distillers is really heavy and it's slick. So when you go out and you try to, well, I'm not sure how you want to say it. When you try to really get after it and push it, it's kind of hard on that loader. So, it takes a bit of time, but it's not bad. Now I'm going to run back behind pen 1. The first one we put those tires in today. That's where I made that jumper. And I'm just going to go see how it's holding up. And then I'm going to test the fence. And kind of explain to you guys what I did when we get over here. So there we can kind of see what's going on. Coming off hot wire there, going up, across, down, hot wire over there, so that side of the fence is powered. And right where that little moo's standing, we used to have a jumper that went across there. So when you run a jumper across there in the corner, it works good. But they get to where they'll kind of rub back in there. If they break that jumper off, then the one side of the fence don't work. Then they get scratching themselves. When they get scratching themselves where that wire is wrapped around a steel pipe, it'll start to stretch. And then when it starts to stretch, it'll start to move up and down. And when it starts to move up and down, then you get spaces. And when there's no hot wire, the little cubes like we got in here, well, by George, they'll escape. They don't go very far, but they do get out. So that's what happened the other day. They broke that. Fence wasn't hot after they broke it, of course. And then one of them, or a couple of them, got out. Easy to get them in, but it's still the principle of the situation. And this kind of deal works better for us, works better for them. And it is what it is. But I'm going to go out and I'm going to look. And it looked like everything was still good. So maybe we'll run back up to the front of that, the very end of that fence, and I got a tester that'll let me know how good everything's working. So this tester here my brother got me for Christmas, along with a really nice pair of fencing pliers. A couple of pairs of fencing pliers, one really nice pair. But this tester will flash lights, and at 10,000 volts is what we're shooting for. That means everything is running exactly how it's supposed to run. We're getting power all the way through like it's supposed to be. If it's lower than that or non-existent, then we got some problems. But let's look and see what we got. Well, I don't know what's going on. On the far side off to the north of me is where we got our box, our fencer. Supplies power to the electric fence. I've got power up until it jumps over and comes on this back side of the pin and around, then goes into the jumper that I made and goes into the other side of that fence. But I only got a little bit of power on that first part and nothing on the rest of it. I don't see anything broke or shorted. I don't know. But that tester will tell you how good it's working. Because you can get a spark with a screwdriver and something, which is what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to end up getting the long screwdriver and testing everything with that, just to make sure I got continuity and power. And then we'll test it with the other tester and see how hard it's pushing. And I could just not have a good ground with my tester or something out here, which I don't think is the case, but it could be. We can hope. So I got to go get my long screwdriver, which is at the house, because we got a new fridge and stove and all that, so I needed it there. So I'm going to have to grab that. It's almost dinner time anyway, or lunch for you crazies. So I'll grab that then, and then come back and fiddle around with this, I guess. I don't know. I'll mess with it. Can't be that hard. I mean, worst case, I run a new jumper over that other side. I don't want to do that, but if that's what I got to do, it's what I got to do. It's pretty simple, so. It's just a pain to unroll that electric fence wire. We'll see what I figure out after I come back. But either way, these cattle haven't really rubbed up against it and messed with anything, so I don't really know. And it could be just because it was really foggy and humidity's high today that they're not really scratching themselves. They're really going after those tires though, so I don't know. I'll mess with it after I eat and we'll see what happens. Alright, just getting back to the farm. That was a heck of a bump. Anywho, just getting back to the farm. Got screwdriver and everything else. So we're gonna see if we can get some spark over here. I think I got an idea of what's going on. I'm not sure 100%. But I'm going to test out a few different theories across this jumper. First one is that we're shorting out somewhere and it's making so power don't get all the way across. But we'll figure it out. I mean, we got to figure it out. So we'll see what we got. Well, that did not take long. Had a couple of things. Wind was blowing. Part of that other jumper into the fence was shorting it out, so I got that fixed. And then they'd also, I'm guessing in the interim, with that stuff not working like it was supposed to, pushed hot wire down into a non-hot wire, which is shorting it out. Got those taken care of. Now we got spark. But to kind of explain how that works with the screwdriver, to kind of check it for that, you're just checking for continuity. It's kind of like using a test light in your car. But you take one end of that screwdriver to the hot wire, one end to a non-hot wire, to a post or whatever, and you'll get a spark. That's all you're looking for. You're not keeping it there, you're not holding it there, you're just getting your spark and then moving on. So instead of having a fancy little tester, which gives you the voltage and everything else, this will at least tell you got continuity. Now, I'm gonna go grab some grease, and we're gonna go grease some things. Just got done greasing and everything, and now I'm going to come over and kind of restock myself with a few things. I got a nice Milwaukee battery-powered grease gun, and Dad had it, and I believe he got it at a garage sale, and I ended up getting it from Dad. And it didn't come with any batteries or charger, nothing like that, so I bought two 18-volt batteries online. And never did get around to getting a charger because I never had to use it, because when I was driving truck, the Boss Man supplied a nice DeWalt one. And honestly, I believe the Milwaukee one's better, just from what I've used it today. But that's just me. People go both ways on this, so I don't really care. But Boss Man, he bought a couple of cheapo battery-powered grease guns. And they don't really work anymore. Actually, none of them worked. I've tried. So I grease everything with these. And it's not that big of a deal. They work good. But it just gets a little exhausting. I'm not sure it's the right word for it, but it kind of tires your arm out. Because there's a lot of stuff to grease. I grease the feed truck every week. And the feed truck's got a lot of parts that need greased. You gotta grease your output augers, and you got to grease all the U-joints to go to the feed box, grease the U-joints for the truck. You grease all kinds of stuff on that feed truck. And then you try to grease everything you got, from tractors to, we've been using the dirt scraper and the speed mover, which is like a box scraper or a brand of box scraper. So you grease all them, because they get put through a lot. Grease the loader. And the front end loader has got a good selection of external ports, but they also have a lot of different stuff, especially on the lift arms and the bucket. And you use that every day. You abuse it. So you got to grease that too. So this battery powered grease gun, I finally grabbed the batteries for it today and tried it out, and it works great. So I got that in the pickup, and I'm going to use it from now on. And I got a manual one too in there just in case, but I like the battery-powered one. I like things to be easy. But I'm going to restock some grease and some spray oil and different things like that I run out of. Probably grab me a thing of towels. That way I've got them, because I do most of my stuff out of the pickup. And the more I got in there, the less I got to stop and get, and everything just works smoother. So I'm going to do that. Kind of figure out where I'm going to put that grease gun in that toolbox, and then we'll see what else I do. I'll probably run around fences, check those real quick on all the other pens, and then I guess feed. Well, he ain't supposed to be there. They're not supposed to be there. Oh, fudge. Well, this is why you check stuff. And they bent the hell out of that bunk fence. I can see up there. So that's not going to be fun. So I going to run around, open some gates, close some gates, and then I'm going to go grab the Ranger. And I am going to have to try to figure out how to get these bastards in. Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. Alrighty, I don't know how many got out, but we got them all back. Got them all ran through, and thank goodness neighbor Eddie saw them too, so he come in there with his manure spreader and help me out. Thank goodness, because I couldn't have got this all on my own. Because they would have ran around the fence and around the pen and everything else, and it would have just been a nightmare. But he come and help. So I'm going to flip you around. I'm going to show you what they did and how they got out of this bugger. So it has been bent here before. So you can see where we put heat on it to bend it back. What hasn't been broke was this deal here. So how these work is these collars got a carriage bolt behind them that slides in and out of this, up and down. Well, they get these things, they're old, really old, probably in the the 70s, I'm guessing, when they were done, 70s or 80s. Some of these we have to weld a little bit right here so they can still move up and down. You can see we put heat on this one too. They can still move up and down, but it's going to stop right there because when they get it up too high, they end up bending it and it pulls apart. Because these are made to go into this little sleeve here so they can expand and contract and not crack. Otherwise you got issues. But you can see they broke that collar. It's supposed to go there. Oh, you buggers. So, what I'm going to have to do, get out of the wind just a little bit, which I don't think I can. What I'm going to have to do is obviously put some heat to that pipe, bend it back. And I'm going to put that together. And I got other sleeves that they're going to be able to flex in. And we're just going to leave that. I'm going to weld that sleeve down there onto the other one. And I'm not sure what we're going to do about that collar. Because you can't do much with that carriage bolt. I can probably put it back in there, but I can't tighten it up or anything, so we will see. But right now, while I got everything over on the other end, because I got that gate open down there, they're just running back and forth in an alley. I'm going to go around the pickup, get the pickup that has the welder and the torch and everything else, and we're going to get after it. Not how I planned on spending my afternoon. Okay. Well, that was a challenge. Oh my goodness, that was a challenge. They bent the snot out of that pipe. And you can heat it up. There's no way to keep it up, keep it shape, and everything else. Whatever. But we got it welded. Got the other end bent, kinda. Got the collar put back in place, kinda. Oh, I do not like this pen of cattle. They've broken this head rail more times than I care to count. Most of the time it's just pulling it apart. They have broke it pretty good and bent it just like they did this time, just not as bad. So it's not the first time we've had to go get this pen of cattle, or at least some of them. They just get to scratching on this thing so hard and it just breaks everything. And it is what it is. You can get after as much as you want. We threw that tire out there. And this is the only pen of cattle that just does not seem to want to use that tire. They just want to scratch on this head rail. So, whatever. Good news for me, though, is they're shipping out to the slaughterhouse on Monday. So, I guess, whatever. We'll deal with it for a little bit longer, I guess. Whatever. Not fun, but now that I got that welded up all the way around, got everything put back together, I'm gonna go put this pickup and whatever back, put all the tools back, and I'm gonna go put those cattle back into this pen, and then I'm gonna go feed. And if they get out again, I guess I'm gonna tote them to Tyson myself. We'll see. Well, as y'all can kind of see, got them locked in this alley right here. I got a gate on that far end that comes out by the cornfield that we run them in. I shut this gate off right here. You see we got another alley we can run them down to get them to the work and shoot. And I got their pen gate open. Now are they gonna go in their pen gate from right here? Probably not. I'll let some out, because we didn't have this many out. But what I'll do is I'll walk all the way down there, run those back this way, shut a gate right by their gate, and I'll come back over here and they'll walk all the way back to their pen. What a joy this is. Come on, boys. Hup. Yep. Come on, fellas. Too, bud. Shh. Shh. Hup. Let's go. boys. There we go. You all right, boy? Come on. You gonna come help me, Cooper? Or you just gonna walk around? Oh, goodness. We shut that gate up there. Their gate's right there. So, shut that one. That one's open. So I got no choice but to go into their pen. Or turn around and come eat me. But I'm sure I don't taste that good. So, we'll see. Yep. Come on, boys. I'll finally show up. Yep. Hard to find good help these days. There you go, boys. There you go, boys. There you go, Cooper. Good job. Come on, bud. Up. Yep. Yep. There you go, boys. There you go, boys. Come on. Get up there, 51. Up. Oh, goodness. Come on, bud. You know where you gotta go, dummy. You too. Shh. Oh, fighting little buggers. Well, 81 right there. It's kind of a mean little bluffer. They didn't come after me, but I had to about walk up and pop him on the snout to make him move towards his pen. What a deal. Okay. Well, needless to say, today did not turn out like I planned it. Need to go oil these hinges. I kind of intended on getting a phone call about parts coming in and then going and doing that. Going and getting that relay and putting it in. That was going to be a bugger, but intended on doing that. I went and did other things, and it was just one thing after another. From the short on that fence, got that figured out. I was going to go drive around, check pens before I fed, and then I got cattle out. Now, thank goodness, neighbor Eddie, he's an older guy, good guy, really good guy, really nice guy. Really nice guy. When our feed truck breaks down, we use his. We was out spreading manure, and he saw him, and he called Boss Man, who's not here. I already seen the cattle out. I was setting up gates, and he called and said Eddie was on his way, and he wheeled in with the manure spreader and got him to park it over there by that other gate. And then I went around with side by side, and I got them all rounded up and in, and got everything closed off, and then I went and fixed that deal. But that's definitely not how you want to spend your afternoon. I mean, these feedlot cattle, when they get out, they try to get a little wild, but it ain't much to get them in because, well, they're fat and out of shape. So it's not a big deal. It's just not any fun. Especially these that are slaughter sized. Some of them try to catch an attitude, and it is what it is. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna get all these gates opened up, done what I need to get done, and I'm gonna feed, and I'm gonna go home. And I'm not gonna think about cows again until I get back tomorrow morning. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sure you'll enjoy it more than I did. And I'll come at y'all later. Thank y'all for watching.